Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about a deal that we just recently have done, me and my team, and boy, oh boy, is it one for the books. So I want to share it with you, but before we get started, please consider supporting a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, click that bell, support the channel. It will really mean a lot. Also, we're in our red recruiter hoodie here, which I love every single day. So if you want to support us and get yourself a nice hoodie or a shirt or a hat, I would appreciate that. Go check it out at recruitermerch.com. In this story, we want to talk about how we were able to close our software engineering candidate with a startup in the hospitality sector, and we want to kind of share it with you because boy, it was a battle and definitely something that I'm just still kind of giggling and in retrospect kind of thinking about these days because it was pretty insane. So we found this candidate, we submitted him, and the whole interview process honestly went relatively smooth. He did really well in the first interview, did well in the second interview, did well in the take-home assignment, and then they brought him on site where they met the team and the CEO, and he just absolutely crushed it. And in fact, after the final round, he sent us a text saying, hey, Preston and team, I think I did an awesome job and I wouldn't be surprised if the company wanted to move forward. I know he was very confident, but you know, he's a confident guy, right? And I love that about him. But lo and behold, we were able to hear back from the company to just validate that. They're like, hey, we loved him. We want to move forward to an offer. I'm like, this is fantastic. Throughout the whole process, we were able to do really deep process calls with the candidates, which I talk about a lot, just to make sure that we can uncover really important information and data on where his mind's at. How is he feeling? What does he love about our client? Red flags. Is he interviewing anywhere else? Are there any other things that could kind of be an obstacle or, you know, blindside us into the future, right? If we do progress further into the process, just being very diligent and doing these calls with our candidate throughout the process, while at the same time also just strengthening our relationship with the candidate as well, where he just feels a lot more comfortable with us and he, you know, throughout the process, he gets more and more open and just honest, which is exactly what you want to do, you know? We're not here to play any games. We're not here to mislead or deceive either side. Like, we just want to be a really good partner for the candidates and make sure their experience is top, in addition to doing the same thing with the clients and hiring managers. So basically going into the final round from our call, we confirmed that our candidate is really looking for a salary, ideally about $120,000. There's a lot of things in his current job where he could be getting a bonus promotion, which we were aware of, which could also, from our understanding, just make the whole process a little bit trickier because we know that it could change his expectations to wanting to ask for a higher salary or more equity or anything like that. So we were just very, very aware and sensitive about that situation. Did you just start your own recruitment agency and are struggling getting your own clients? Are you thinking about starting your own agency but afraid to make the jump? Do you have your own clients but you're struggling to find the perfect candidates fast? Do you have a full-time job and want to do recruitment part-time to make more money on the side and have no idea how to? If you answered yes to any of these questions, please consider joining our private community. It is a trust-based community where recruiters around the world can support, collaborate, and work together on placements all around the year consistently. In this community, you will directly have access to the real open jobs of my team and of our members, and you will also have the chance to access trainings, events, giveaways, and much, much more. If you are part of this community, I communicate and work with you as if you were on my own team, and I'll do whatever I can to do a placement together with your client or candidate. So if you're struggling to get your own clients or candidates and you want a way you can make sure you can be busy all year round by having access to many more open roles, then this is something you need to look into. This is open to people around the world and is open for recruiters in every industry and experience levels, as we will always have a good number of variety of open jobs across sectors, markets, and industries. I'm really happy to say that within the first 30 days, we have already have a new member with minimal recruiting experience do his first placement that had a total fee of almost $30,000 US, and we are working hard to do many, many more this year. If you are interested and excited, there are only a limited number of spots open, so make sure you sign up quick at patreon.com/recruiterpreston. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Discord. We can set up a time to chat. See you on the other side. If these things did happen relatively soon, it could change his expectations to wanting to ask for a higher salary or more equity or anything like that. So we were just very, very aware and sensitive about that situation. But it goes to show again the importance of just talking to a candidate and not just submitting them to the client and waiting for the offer to come out. We got to be very, very hands-on, which is what we do, right? A lot of recruiting at the end of the day comes to luck, whether or not the candidate accepts, whether or not the company extends, but there's a lot that you can do to kind of play that game of probability so that if something happens, we can kind of tip it to our side as much as possible, right? But at the end of the day, like, while recruiting is sales oriented, as much as we're here to persuade and influence, I'm also just always about making sure the candidate gets a job that's a perfect fit for them, you know? And if that means leaving money off the table, I will tell them think our job is probably not the best fit for you, because I'm thinking about the long term. And I know a lot of recruiters or people who've been in the profession for a number of years would probably disagree with me. They're like, you know what, whatever money's on the table, let's take it now. But I've been in this long enough where I know that if you do things correctly, you might not get the win now, but if the candidate walks away with an amazing experience from you and they end up getting another job, they end up hiring, they're just gonna come back to you because they have such a positive experience. I know that every interaction with the candidate is just not now. There's always opportunities to do that in the future. And if I can preserve just a positive line of communication and just experience, that's exactly what I'll take time and time again. And I proved that right multiple times. Anyway, the candidate went through the whole interview process. We were pretty clear that he's looking for at least 120 or higher. We hear back from the company here that they want to extend. An offer came out, but also the candidate took upon himself to kind of try to negotiate, which is also really great. I think if a candidate is comfortable negotiating on his own, that's always better than doing it through us, right? I think that's always a lot more powerful, and I'm more than happy to just play a secondary supportive role here. So he communicated that and his reasonings with the hiring manager, and the hiring manager's like, you know what, we can totally negotiate. I'll go to bat for you because I really, really like you with the CEO, and we'll try to make something happen, right? So I think while the candidate initially wasn't that happy about that 110, he kind of felt good about the conversation, knowing that the hiring manager was really like in his corner, going to go to bat for him and see what we can do. So after that call, we were able to kind of sync up with the candidate. He was honest with us saying, hey, I really need that 120 to really kind of make a move. And I also just want to also provide context here as well. So all the companies that my candidate has worked at were larger companies, right? That's all he knows. And this is like the first opportunity in his career, in his life. He's kind of deliberating about whether to join at a small startup, right? So a lot of what we had to do at the negotiation stage is to also just educate our candidate. Like, hey, you can't expect the same growth or compensation trajectory at your current company with the startup. You got to be willing to be flexible. And this problem is not just rare to him. This happens all the time, every single day. People working at banks or big techs or larger established companies that are looking to join smaller companies, it would require most of you to be flexible. There's got to be some sort of compromise, right? And it might mean that you might have to take a step back or maybe a lateral move on the salary, but you get accelerated growth. You get the equity. You get an amazing relationship with the founders. You get an amazing relationship with your hiring managers. You can have a voice, a seat at that table, tons of impact. A lot of things that you're not going to get at a large company, you can get at a small startup. And, really want to make that clear with the candidate. Be like, hey, I totally get what you're coming from, but also there's so many other early stage startups that can't even go close to 110. Just the fact that they were able to even offer you 110 with how small they are, how early they are, is also a true testament to how this company could grow into the future. They could grow into the next best thing, the next best in class startup or company in their category. And if you're going to join a startup, you want to join something that literally is about to blow up in a hockey stick like growth. And that's exactly what you're looking at here, right? So then I told my candidate, our job is to make sure if he really wants to, and he's excited about our client, our job is to make sure that jump and transition is as smooth and frictionless and enjoyable as much as possible. We will totally go to bat for him. So we were able to kind of explain that because, I kind of saw from our discussions, he was really comparing his current job with this new job with the startup. And he literally used the phrase apples to apples. I'm like, hold on a second. We're talking about apples and oranges here, right? And I had to just kind of take him out of his like narrow kind of perception of like his own situation and just have more of like a high level perspective, right? And be like, hey, this situation actually doesn't happen that often. And because you're working with me and my team, we're going to do what we can to kind of close that gap and go to bat for you. So we're able to kind of communicate that with him. He was feeling really good. He really wanted that 120, but he told us, hey, I talked to the manager and the manager agreed with my situation. And he's willing to go back to the CEO to kind of go to bat for me and say the negotiation is totally possible. The candidate also was aware that when an offer comes out, that's the beginning of the discussion, the final chapter of getting an offer, right? Negotiations are to be expected. Negotiations are normal. And as a candidate, you have every right to negotiate. If you don't ask, you'll never get. So for me, I always encourage people, regardless of how you think it's feasible or far-fetched, just always go for it. Shoot for the moon, because if you don't ask, you'll walk away from the situation and just have total regret. And you don't want that to happen now that you've done all the hard work in interviewing with the company, getting this far. So we finished that conversation, and then we got a ping from the hiring manager saying, hey, the offer will come out later that night. And it actually came out late at night, probably like 9 or 10 my time. And the candidate, upon reading the offer, got pissed. He was super, super angry. And then he ended up calling one of my team members. They had like a 45-minute chat super late at night. I think my team member was already in bed. So huge shout out for like him taking the call and just doing whatever he can to make it happen. But to make it, long story short, the official offer came out at 110, but there was language in the official offer and the email that literally said, we don't do negotiation negotiations. And our candidate rightfully got pissed because he was like, you know what, like, I just feel like now that the hiring manager and the company is playing games with me, they're deceiving me, they're intentionally like misleading me. And then we had to kind of come in and do damage control. We're like, that's not the case at all. You have to almost separate the amazing conversation you had with the manager with like the CEO and the rest of the company, right? And I'm like, I firmly believe the manager was not playing games. He's being genuine with you, and he really wants to be an advocate for you and go to bat for you. And I believe that's what happened, and he just got turned down by the CEO or the powers that be at that company. So I'm like, do your best, no matter how emotional you are right now, to kind of separate him from other people. And because I believe whatever he told you, and I'm talking to the candidate, I believe the hiring manager was completely genuine and authentic. I told the candidate, sleep it off, calm down. We're going to sync up back with the hiring manager and kind of see, what the situation is. So the next morning came, we ended up getting another call with the hiring manager, kind of explaining the situation. And to our relief, the hiring manager told us, hey, that wasn't me at all. That's actually normal language that's included in every offer. I wish it wasn't there. I wish the confusion didn't happen, but it is what it is. But the offer still stands as is. I actually went back to the CEO. I tried to negotiate for a higher salary. The CEO stood firm and refused to change. So we then kind of encouraged him to hop on the phone again with the candidate, which they did. He conveyed that situation, and the candidate was back. Like, he was almost just gone mentally. He's like, you know what, if they want to re-engage me, I need to have an understanding exactly like what happened and to see if the salary can come up. So the hiring manager did apologize to the candidate and made the candidate feel much better. What the candidate didn't like was to hear that they couldn't really do much on the salary. So we then kind of synced up again with me and the candidate just to kind of talk things through. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, at the end of the day, you're getting everything from this company, right? That you're not getting at your current job. It's going to open doors to you to get other jobs in the startup world if you want. Amazing manager, and also a CEO that really believes in him, right? And that his kind of overall comp package can catch up and exceed what he's currently making very, very quickly. Amazing culture. He gets along with the team members. He has a lot of impact. He can grow into a leadership or management position if he wants to. I mean, like, he literally has everything handed to him except that salary. So I'm like, I was kind of curious. So I asked the candidate, I'm like, how important is money to you, right? Like, 10K is not that much. It's not going to change your life, whether you have a salary of 110 or 120. And he's like, you know what? I'm glad you asked that. It's a good question. Here's the situation. Like, at the end of the day, it's not so much getting 10K more. It's all about wanting to kind of see a gesture from the company if they really want me, right? Because, he kind of felt initially misled, and now he's at a situation right now during discussions where he's like, I'm not sure if they're serious about me, right? And so I kind of took that to segue into another conversation. I'm like, well, look, if they can't do salary, maybe let's see if they can do other things. Like, can they increase the equity? Can they give you a sign-on bonus? And our candidate's like, yeah, I love those ideas. Anything they can do will help me get over the finish line. And that was huge because at this stage, I didn't even know if the candidate was serious. I didn't even know if he was on the verge of just walking away. So the fact that the candidate's still making time to chat with us is all good signs. The fact that he's using, actual literal words, saying, hey, if I get a little something, that will be across the finish line, that would be great. Because I thought, we were going against the wind. I thought that with the recent events, the candidate was getting cold feet. He was stable. He's like, I can make a lot more money predictably at this company. I have a good relationship with my manager. Maybe I don't want to deal with this new job with this startup. And so I thought at this point we were just kind of losing it, right? So hearing those words gave us a little bit extra help. And I'm like, okay, we're back in the game, or we never left the game. I'm hopeful we can still make this happen. Ping the hiring manager, got on the phone with him and be like, hey, look, at the end of the day, like, he wants to see something. Can you do equity? Can you do sign-on bonus? Like, we just try to also just humanize the situation. Be like, it's a big decision for the candidate. It's the first startup he's ever going to join, just to kind of really convey that empathy to the hiring manager. And every time we talk to the hiring manager, it's always really positive. He's always like, if I was in his shoes, I would just give him the salary he wanted from the get-go instead of all this back and forth. But he's like, I understand it's a big decision for the candidate. I would go back to the CEO and do whatever I can, right? And we also were pretty confident after that chat that, we'd be able to get something from the CEO. So we kind of ended that phone call being hopeful. We told the candidates that, hey, we should be hearing from the company soon. The whole business day went. Then we heard back from the company like, hey, they decided they can't do anything. No sign-on bonus, no equity. We were shocked. We're like, we're gonna totally lose this. And then the hiring manager asked us, hey, can you just convey this to the candidates? And the only other thing we could have done right now is basically how we played it, right? So we went back actually to the hiring manager. We're like, you know what? I think it's probably better to hear it from you directly. Also knowing that the hiring manager really likes our candidate and he uses every opportunity to sell him, to pitch him, to get him excited, to kind of see if we can save this thing, right? And so we told the candidate that the hiring manager really wants to chat with him before he's ready to make a decision. The night came and went. The next morning, they ended up kind of jumping on the call together. It was a super short one. We got a text back from the candidate saying, hey, they're not able to do anything, and it is what it is. And so at that point, it really wasn't positive. The hiring manager then also texted us saying, hey, he didn't sound that positive. We need to know by the end of the day tomorrow because we have to make a decision to move on to other candidates. And so now we have a timeline. Both sides didn't sound too positive. Our hope was kind of going down the drain, and we're like, I don't know what's going to happen. We just have to kind of leave it up to the recruiting gods and see how this plays out. And so we tried our best to be as positive as possible. There was really no other reason to jump on the phone with the candidate. We kind of really talked about everything and educate him and positively kind of share with him information that would help him make the best decision. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking. That whole day it came and went, haven't heard back from the candidate. He told us he was going to make the decision by end of the day next morning. And then the final day, which was actually this morning, my team member, to his surprise, got a text from the candidate saying, hey, thought it over, and I decided to accept the offer, which is insane because then my team member called me at Pacific time because I'm on the West Coast now, like 6 o'clock my time, and he's like, Preston, are you sitting down? Are you lying down? Candidate accepted. And as positive and excited as I felt, I was also like very surprised and confused. I'm like, I thought this was gonna go the other way. Like everything the candidate asked for, the company didn't budge on: salary, sign-on bonus, equity, and I didn't know what happened in the candidate's life, in his current job, our conversations that was like the catalyst to end up at the result. Perhaps it was a combination of everything. Perhaps it was one thing. It's just hard to tell. But the reason why I want to share this with you is it was just a battle, but it also goes to show like how hands-on we are with the entire process and how transparent we are with both candidates and clients. And there are a lot of recruiters out there who don't do any of this. They just send the candidate, they wait until an offer is being made, and then they just try to scramble, right? With us, we're very hands-on. We want to develop a strong relationship with the candidates and also the clients, and we will do whatever we can as like the middle party to think outside the box of creative solutions, of different levers that we can play with to get the job done, right? And so I don't know if the candidate was playing us the whole time, or he was just trying to find a way to make more money, or I don't know if it was a combination of all the discussions from day one, or if it was just maybe one conversation or one thing that led him to accept. But this honestly felt like a psychological battle. I lost a little bit of sleep over the past couple days because of this. Like, as long as I've been doing this, it matters to me because I care about the clients, I care about the candidates. I'm just not in it for the money, and I just want to leave off every experience as positive as possible for everyone involved. And that's all I really want to do, and do my best. And so it took a lot of effort on my end, on my team's end, but just happy to be able to close this and just ecstatic. I know my candidate is going to crush it. He's going to become an amazing, valuable member of the team, and I'm excited to see what he does. And the cool thing is we were able to kind of negotiate 25% here, 110,000, so a little over 25,000 commission fee. I'll take it, in a very, very tough year. But I think money aside, it's all about what we did to kind of lead up to this result, and we take every placement as serious as this. But huge congrats to the candidate, huge congrats to the client, and huge congrats to our team member, who actually brought in this client. He actually brought in this candidate, and I came in to support during the high touch kind of priority situation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It's still something that I'm just still kind of thinking about, chuckling about, surprised and shocked about. But again, with business and work, a lot of it comes down to luck. At the end of the day, we can do whatever we can, but it's not our lives that, we're not the candidates, we're not the hiring managers. You just have to kind of leave a lot of it by chance and know that we did the best, and sometimes it goes our way, sometimes it doesn't, but this time we did. So very, very excited to see what the candidate does. If you want us to make more videos like this, more stories that focus around deals, please let us know. But huge, huge win. And, as much as we love to celebrate our deals, we always like to look forward to the next one. So I appreciate this video. Give us a like, subscribe, pick up some merch for yourself. Appreciate all of you. We'll see you on the next one.